ReadyReserveFoods.com. Factory direct wholesale pricing from Ready Reserve Foods. 1-800-453-2202. 1-800-453-2202.
Okay, talking with Ben Fulford. Ben, do the Japanese people understand the central bank system, how it works, whether it be the ECB or the Federal Reserve here in the U.S., whatever you call it? It's still a central banking system.
The Japanese have always said, that the West was ruled by the Rockefeller and Rothschild families and stuff, and for years I thought, they were superstitious. But for them, it was kind of a given, and that they had lost the war and that they were now ruled by the Rockefellers. And I just, it didn't make sense because I was, working for Forbes, which studies how rich people are, and David Rockefeller's like number 300 on the rich list. And I'm thinking, how could they think this man is in control of the planet? And what I didn't realize at the time was that what these people have done is they've hidden all their wealth in foundations. And so there are many trillionaires out there, and most of them are people whose names we don't even know. For example, we know about, to some extent about David Rockefeller, but we don't know about people like Baron Thyssen, or there's all sorts of, ancient aristocratic plutocrats who keep their names completely out of the public eye, who have been the secret rulers. And this is the fact that I encountered, and then when I went to the Chinese and I said, hey, look, it's your money. You guys should decide how to spend it. And as a result of telling them that, I suddenly become in direct contact with all of these plutocrats. And the thing I learned, which is shocking, is that the Western financial system, is in the control of a sect of Sabbatean heretic Jews who believe that they have to carry out the prophecies of the Old Testament, that it has to be done by humans, and that their job is to do that. So we have this group of religious fanatics who are trying to start a war between Gog and Magog and kill 90% of humanity and enslave the rest, in charge of creating money.
Right.
It's so ridiculous you wouldn't believe it was true if it was in the, it's just too absurd, and yet it happens to be what we've discovered. And of course,
a question about China, if I might. The Chinese recently dropped 97% of its holdings in U.S. Treasury bills, and that essentially decreased its ownership of short-term U.S. government securities from a peak of $210 billion to $5.69 billion. That's a huge drop. What's going on with that?
Yeah, no, it's part of an ongoing battle. What happened was when the Chinese decided, hey, it's our money, we're going to decide how we're going to spend it. We're not going to just buy treasuries to finance the American military campaign against us. I mean, they're saying, why should we pay you to kill us? And what happened was various groups went to China on begging missions and bribing them and said, hey, look,
right.
Okay, like Obama went in 2009 and said, hey, we'll have a G2, and the Black Pope went over and said, hey, we'll give you like 52.5% control, just work with us. So everybody went and sucked up to China because they had the guts to say no to these people and say, hey, this is our money. And what the Chinese control, and this is very important, this is what the fatal mistake these Sabbatean fanatics made, is that they thought they were God. But they're not God, because they did not create this planet. They did not create this universe. What they created was numbers on bank computers. And they believed these numbers were real, but in fact, they're only real if they reflect something in the real world. And they weren't. They were just producing hallucinations. They were selling lies. And a lot of people, especially in Asia, saw through their lies and said, hey, you're offering something called a derivative, but as far as we can tell, it's nothing. It's just thin air. What is behind it? And so they say, we're not going to buy that stuff. And that's why suddenly you see this incredible situation in the U.S. where you have 35% unemployment, and no matter how much they lie about the statistics, like by changing the components of how they measure inflation. So, for example, gasoline and food isn't on your inflation list, and then they say, well, if you haven't found a job for more than a year, you're not unemployed anymore. They can lie and lie and lie, but the reality is still there. These people have been lying so much for so long that they believe their own lies, but it's falling apart in front of their eyes. Their whole system is unraveling, and the result is that they're resorting to threats of extreme violence and murder, but it's still not going to help their case because they don't make stuff. They don't have anything real. They don't own gold. They don't do anything, and so it's like the Roadrunner cartoons of Wile E. Coyote runs off the cliff, and it takes him a while to realize that there's no ground under his feet. And this is the process we're going through. And the result has been some very high-stakes poker, some big threats, all sorts of stuff behind the scenes, which I happen to be directly involved in. And there's stuff I can't talk about in order to protect life, but there is stuff I can talk about. One thing I'll say for sure, and this is one of the ways they've camouflaged themselves, is that there are two sets of books in the global financial system. Okay, there's a set of books that we all read about in the Wall Street Journal and stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised if there were three, but yeah, go ahead. All
right, but the point is that in those statistics, world GDP is $60 trillion, right? But these people, the people who really run the world's financial system, they deal in quadrillions of dollars. It's like, you know, I was shown one financial instrument with 46 zeros, okay? That's like 33 orders of magnitude above a trillion. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know.
But the thing is, when people see that and they say, oh, I don't believe it, it can't be true. But I'll tell you a specific incident that that was briefly in the news and I know a lot about. You recall that in June of 2009, 2 Japanese were
in Italy.
Arrested in Switzerland carrying $134.5
They had routed themselves up from Italy. Yeah, I remember that. Stand by, Ben. We have to pause. That's a fascinating story, and you seem to have an inside look at that. I want to hear more.
I've talked to the people who were arrested. I'll tell you what they said.
Oh, very good. All right, stand by. Back in just a minute. When it comes to silver and gold investing, you have to go with somebody you trust, somebody who understands financial planning, economics, and history. In the late 1990s, Paul Drockton predicted that gold and silver would be the #1 growth investment opportunity of the future, and he was right on the mark. Paul began helping his clients and friends make the conversion, and instead of losing money, they have all realized returns as high as 300%. Paul Drockton is now forecasting massive returns on gold and silver bullion in the coming months. Paul's foresight and vision were 20/20, and his track record is perfect. You can email him at pdrockton@aol.com. That's Drockton, D-R-O-C-K-T-O-N, and let Paul help you. There is still time, so email Paul for a completely free, no-strings consultation at pdrockton@aol.com.
You're listening to Jeff nationwide and worldwide on the Internet on the Rense Radio Network.
Studies by the World Health Organization reveal that every year indoor air pollution kills 1.6 million people. That's 1 death every 20 seconds. Some of the most dangerous pollutants are mold and fungus, which can make you get sick more often, feel lousy, suffer debilitating chronic fatigue, migraines, and many other severe health problems. Healthy Perceptions is a leader in healthy air. Their Eclair air purifier is simply the world's best and most affordable. This small portable unit can be moved all around your home, your office, and you can easily travel with it. They are maintenance-free, no filters, no cleaning, and they come with a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Find out more at healthyperceptions.com or call 888-340-0247. Be sure to ask about their amazing 2-for-1 free promotion. That's 888-340-0247. Healthy Perceptions. Dr. Alexis Carroll kept chicken heart tissue alive for 28 years in a test tube. He said the cells remained youthful so long as the metabolic wastes were washed away from them. But when wastes were allowed to accumulate in and around the cell would age and then it would die. So the key to radiant health is cellular cleanliness, and the key to keeping the cells clean is glutathione, the master detoxifier required by every cell of your body every day. Glutathione levels decline due to toxicity and aging. The number one food to replenish your body's glutathione levels is non-denatured whey protein powder from grass-fed cows. This miraculous superfood may do more for your health than any other supplement you've ever taken. To order or learn more, call 888-988-3325. That's 888-988-3325. Or visit oneworldwhey.com. That's oneworldwhey.com.
Scientists in England have succeeded in stabilizing the time-honored substance in garlic that destroys harmful bacteria, viruses, molds, yeast, and fungus. This all-natural microbe killer is called Allicin C, and it's now available to you in 100% vegetarian capsules only on the New Earth page at Rense.com. This powerful broad-spectrum antimicrobial agent is harmless to friendly bacteria and has been concentrated to equal an astonishing 35 cloves of garlic in each vegetarian capsule. Think about it. The antibacterial, antiviral strength of 35 odorless cloves of garlic in just one capsule. Allicin C is so effective it even destroys superbug MRSA in test after test. Allicin C is truly an incredible advance in natural medicine, and with the threats of bacterial and viral diseases and pandemics growing, no home should be without it. Learn more and order Allicin C on the New Earth page at Rense.com.
Hey, talking to Ben Fulford. Ben, is there a central bank in Japan?
Yeah, it's the Bank of Japan. And it's 55% owned by the government and 45% owned by private parties whose names are not made public. But we believe, in fact, I know it to be members of the Japanese royal family as well as the Rothschild family, including Guy de Rothschild. But getting back to these Japanese, okay, there's a guy called Mitsuaki Watanabe, was one of the Japanese who was arrested or illegally detained in Switzerland.
Now didn't they originally go through Italy up into Switzerland?
They were arrested in Italy near the Swiss border.
Correct.
By the Italian security police, and then they were let go. And the official story was that the bombs were fraudulent, but then you have to ask the question, if they were frauds, why weren't these people arrested?
Right.
Anyway, what Mr. Watanabe had was a bunch of Kennedy bonds issued by President Kennedy that were backed by gold that was donated by President Sukarno of Indonesia. And he wanted to use the bonds to finance a tunnel linking Japan and South Korea. The question is, why is a Japanese going to Switzerland to ask for permission to build a tunnel joining, Japan and South Korea? Both those countries have enough money to build their own tunnel without asking for permission.
Interesting.
Right? And the other person was a guy called Akihiko Yamaguchi, and he had a bunch of bonds that were issued by former U.S. Treasury Secretary Morgenthau, and these were backed by Chinese government gold, or Chinese gold, and they wanted to finance projects to turn the deserts clean. In other words, there's energy technology that's better than nuclear or oil that makes it possible to